Okay, this video here that I'm working on, I want to show you that we stopped here and was looking at this footprint. And with me being a tracker and finding footprints like I do, this looked like a footprint, and it I couldn't rule out that it wasn't a boot or a shoe because the toes wasn't really definite. So I'm going to show you just a little bit here, and then I'm going to actually show you the footage and go through this video. But as I was looking at this footprint here, and then as I stood back and looked at it and seen where it was headed to, I could see there was an animal trail right here that looked like it had crossed the road and was going in the animal trail and into the swamp. But also with me being a tracker, I could have followed it up in there and tried to find more footprints and tried to follow it. But I probably wouldn't have got very far with it going up in that swamp, because it was really wet out here. So instead I stood there and filmed with the thermal camera. So I was filming before we stopped and looked at that and took a break for a minute, and I was standing there filming around. So I'm going to show you this too, and I'll show you as we go through here. But there's one right there on the left, and I circled him in red. You'll see a few times I circled him in red because I stood here and filmed him. Then I turned the camera down towards the ground while I was measuring and looking at the footprint and filming that with my GoPro. And then you'll see I stood up, and when I was looking at the animal trail and I was standing there filming, he stayed right there in that one spot. He didn't move. But you can see him moving a little. You can see him move his head a little here and there. And I keep circling him in the red so you'll see him. And then there's a couple more too. There's one that I circled in purple. This is the one I circled in red. I circled one in purple. You can see I gave him different colors. There's the one in red because he stays right there as I'm panning around, and I'll come back to him, and I'll pan around and come back to him, and he stays right there in that spot. And you can see him move his head just a little here and there. Alright, so when I get to the one in purple here, he pretty much stays right there behind that tree as well, right there in that spot. And you can see he's got a cone-shaped head. The other one doesn't. This one does. The one in purple has a cone-shaped head. Alright, so I'm going to play this footage for you. And this is part of being a tracker, is finding these things like this. Finding their footprints, finding the trails they go on. And then being able to film them. And this is the thermal camera. This is the black hot setting. So heat shows up black. It'll show up dark gray to black, and you'll see they're not always completely black here, but this is the same as we are. You'll see I pan across Juanette a couple times here, and she's not showing up completely black. Usually we show up completely black if we're down the trail a little ways or down a little ways away from the camera. We don't always show up completely black right up close to the camera, just like these don't. And even I've filmed deer that don't show up completely black if I'm close to them. But if they're further away, all the animals I show, if they're further away, they show up black. We show up black if we're further away. Alright, so I'm going to cut to the video now, and then I'll just add a little audio in here and there. Alright, so just taking a look at this. This is the footprint here, whether it's a boot or a foot. So really hard to tell. So even though I couldn't rule out that this wasn't a shoe, it didn't look like a boot because there wasn't enough tread or anything in it. I couldn't rule out it wasn't a shoe, but it did look more like the footprints that I find sometimes. And it looked like the toe area is not like narrow and rounder like it would be with a shoe. But I still couldn't really rule it out. So it's not a tire mark, because the rest of this grass around it's not mashed in. Only this part right here, only this is mashed, and not the rest of it here. Okay, so I had already been working on the tracking video. I'd got it started, the last one that I did. So while I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, well, this would be a good start for my tracking video. So I'm gonna start out with you'll see here where I put my thumb up. I'll do a thumbs up in front of the camera here. That's just a signal for me, because like with this GoPro here, I don't have to stop it and then restart it to start another video or to use parts for another video. I can just let it keep rolling. I can just do like a thumbs up for a signal for myself to show me where this where I'm starting the for my tracking video. This is a nice flattened out area. There's no tread marks from a shoe or a boot, but the toes are not definite either. And then another thing too, it's going to, the way it's going, it's facing the woods there. And it looks like there's an animal trail right here in front of it. So if that is a Bigfoot Sasquatch footprint, it would have been going in that trail right there and going into that swamp. So I've been working on the tracking videos, and I've got several out now, and showing tips and stuff, showing things about tracking. And like right here, I could have went up in the swamp and looked for more footprints and tried to track it. About 9 inches. Most of the time, I don't think you could actually track these down. About 9 inches. I don't think you can track them, especially here, because that swamp's wet. It's really wet out there right now where we were, and that would be way too dangerous to take one net up in there. But like me, when I was hunting, or if I was by myself here, or when I was hunting, I could go up into places like that. And I could go up in there and hunt or track an animal. So but I won't do it here, not with Lynette with me. I wouldn't take her, or like when we were working with the team, I wouldn't take anybody in somewhere that dangerous. Alligators and water mocks and stuff like that. So instead, I'm just, besides we're on that mission here, we're going to our game cameras and to change out memory cards and to refilm an area and to get change out audio recorder. Can't really tell anything back here. These tires, tracks has got this all meshed in. Okay, so this is really going to show you where the thermal camera comes in good with the tracking. So with finding these, finding where they're at, where they're moving through, and then being able to film them with the thermal camera, because this picks up heat. So anyway, here's the with our eyes only being able to see 1% of the light spectrum, and we could not see these, although we were. You can see they're close. You can see they're really close to us. We could not see them with our eyes. So the thermal camera picks them up because they're giving off heat just like we do. You'll see I circled these. I gave them different colors. So the one that I circled in red, I'll keep panning around and he stays in that one spot, and I'll keep circling him in red so you can see where he's at. But you'll see that he moves a little here and there. And then there's more. I give them different colors. There's no sound with the thermal camera, so you won't hear any sound or background noise here. But I do want to point out that I'm just showing you all of this. I'm showing you all my footage here, and I'm just panning around while I'm looking at the footprint and backing up and looking for more footprints. And I'm panning around some, and then the only part I actually cut out is where I'm actually when I kneel down and look at the footprint and the camera's just pointing at the ground, and I cut that out. And then you'll see that this thermal camera is really working out as a good tool for us here. So I slowed this down a little. I slowed the footage down just a little so you can see these more, so I'm not moving as fast. And you can pick out certain trees or the palmettos here, and you'll see as you keep coming back, you can see where they're at. You can stop this and take screenshots, whatever you want to do here to look at this, get a closer look. You can pause it here and there, whatever you want to do to get a closer look. But I did slow it down just a little, so I'm not moving as fast, and some of the shots where you can see them pretty good, so I'm not just panning by them real fast. So I've been studying a little bit of quantum physics and physics, and like learning from Ron Morehead. Ron Morehead's book is really informational, and then I've been studying a little bit other quantum physics too. Other than that, like getting a book. I've got a quantum physics for beginners book, and been reading that. I've been studying up on it some, looking up stuff on it on the internet, trying to learn more about what's going on here. Because like with this, we're only seeing 1% of the light with our eyes, and then the cameras work off of light. So that's why this thermal camera is so important, because it works off of heat. It doesn't work off of light. With it working off of heat, and you can use this either daytime or nighttime, it doesn't matter. It doesn't work off of light like the cameras do. So with these beams giving off heat, just like we do and just like animals do, then we're seeing them, we're catching them on here. And I really like to see them moving. I like to show them moving. And that's what you'll see here. You'll see them moving here and there, and you'll see their heads moving. If you watch really close, you'll see there's several of them here. And like I said, I circled different colors, like the one I gave red, because I keep panning around and coming back and panning by him, and he's still there, he stays there. The one in purple, it has a little bit different look to him. He's got the cone-shaped head. And then you'll see some of the other ones. I circled one in green, I circled some in blue. But the main thing, I keep coming back to this one in the red. And if you watch, you'll keep seeing them. You don't have to actually see the circles, you'll be able to see them if you examine this close. You'll see here when I pan around here a little bit and I'll go past Lynette, you can see that she doesn't show up completely black here because I'm close to her. Now you'll see the one I circled in purple. You can see his cone-shaped head really good. Here's where I cut out some of the thermal footage because I had the camera pointing down at the ground while I was examining the footprint and talking about it on the GoPro. So I'm out here using my tracking and my hunting skills to find where these beings are, where they're staying at, where they're living at, where they're moving around through, things like that, what they're eating, their food sources. I'm not actually like out here trying to track one down or follow it up to where I can actually get right up on him and like get a photo of him, or I'm not actually doing that. That would be really hard to do in these swamps. But I'm using my skills to actually get out here and find where they're staying, where they're at, so I can learn the truth and know that they're really here and they're real, and then to show you and bring you the truth as well, and show you that they're really here, what they look like, or at least what they look like the best I can, because you're not going to get a real good clear picture of them, I don't believe. And I do believe that that's why we're not getting a good clear pictures of them. That's why you're seeing blurry pictures a lot of times, because the cameras, they work off of light, but I think the quantum physics is explaining a lot of this, the way these beings are moving. I mean, you can see how close they are to us, and we cannot see them with our eyes. I mean, you can tell these are not deer, these are not wild hogs, they're not bears, they're not bobcats, they're not panthers. Any of those animals like that this close to us, we would see them. We would be able to see them. These we cannot see with our own eyes, and you can see how close they are to us. Plus, wild animals, they tend to avoid humans. If it was any of those kind of animals there, they would have been running off. You'd see a deer's tail flagging, or you'd see them getting away from us. Bobcat would be growling a little bit or something, or turning and running. They wouldn't be sitting there that close to us watching us the whole time like this. Wild animals tend to avoid humans as much as possible. So now that me and Wynette are back to basically researching on our own, doing our own thing here, we're able to spend more time like this right here, to like stand around and film, and we're not like following other people or trying to keep up with other people. We're on our own here. We're able to take time and stand around and film, go into certain areas here and refilm. We've been doing a lot of refilming, and you can see that we're bringing you a lot more stuff now, I think, since we're doing this. So it's really hot and humid out here right now. This was right at the end of July. It's really hot and humid, and you can see the pine trees hold heat. You can see some of the palmettos hold heat, things like that. Also, if you look up at the timestamp on this, we're at right at 30 minutes into our outing here, and they're already right here watching us before 30 minutes, before being out here even 30 minutes. They're already watching us here, close to us. Okay, these last couple minutes of video here, I'm just gonna let it play, and then you can. This is as we're starting to walk off, and head on back to where we were going to get the game cameras. So I'll just leave this and let you watch it, and I'm just kind of panning a little bit as we're walking off, and you can look at it and see what you see.